Hey guys, what's going on? Thanks for joining me today. I'm out here in the lab once again for another stove test series test. So this was the stove I was going to do today. This is the Stormin Stove Systems Screw UTD burner. It is so much like the Kojin stove. I decided I'm going to pass on this one for a little while. We'll come back to this one down the road. I wanted to do a different Kojin stove. So this is the Kojin cone stove, and it comes in its little carrying case here. So if we open it up, we can take a look at it. So here's what it is. It looks like a normal soda can. It has angled inner walls that go down, and it has some sort of soft batting material, fiberglass, something, I don't know, in there, some sort of material that wicks up the alcohol. And it has the holes all around the outside, as you can see. Interesting little design. And in playing around with it, so this was one of 3 stoves that the Stormin Stove Systems guys sent me, along with the 2-piece titanium cone that goes with my 700. And as I've been playing around, this stove has actually performed better than the others, so I wanted to see how it would work on its own without the cone. I know it's designed for the cone, but let's see how it works without the cone involved. I've got a pot stand that we're going to be using that's going to keep it a little over an inch above the flames, so it should be pretty optimal. So why don't we get this thing set up, come back, and we'll get this thing going. Let's go. Alright, so I've got everything kind of set up here. I've got the 12 ounces of water in the 700 for the first test, sitting at 61 degrees. It just came up from 60, so it went from 60 to 61. I've got the pot stand here ready to go. I've got the stove sitting on a little reflector, and I've got the 0.75 ounces by weight, which is 1 fluid ounce of yellow bottle heat ready to go. Pouring it in, letting it soak it up. Okay, so 1 ounce appears to be just a little bit more than what that will soak up. So it's got a little bit of liquid in there, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to light it, get the pot stand over it, let it come to a bloom, get the pot on, and then we'll hit the timer. Usually doesn't take too long. It may take a little bit longer because I haven't used it with a full ounce in there before, so it's going to be a little bit different. You can hear it starting to... Alright, so there is a bloom. It's going on. Hit start. So let's see what this one does. Alright, here is the flame pattern. You can see that it creates a pretty big, generous blue flame. It's only turning orange where it's hitting the pot stand and coming out. Okay, we're passing 200 degrees before we even hit 4 minutes, which is pretty impressive. This one so far may be the fastest. There's 209 at 412. Nice rolling boil right there. Let's see what burnout is with this one. All right, the flame pattern is definitely getting smaller. We're just a little bit past 8 minutes. It's still holding temperature, but the flames are dying. And that's flame out right there, 834 flame out. All right, we're almost set up for test number 2. I've got the water right here, 12 ounces in the 550, sitting at 60 degrees. I've got the ounce of fuel right here. But first what I wanted to do was just mention again the weight. Mention for the first time because I forgot to mention what the weight is. This weighs 9.3 grams, so it's a very light, compact little stove that works really well. The case that it comes in is a two-piece case. It's got a clear top and the bottom, so you set it in there, put the top on, kind of clip it down. That little case is going to protect it really well, but it weighs 13 grams, so it's more than the stove itself. So you're looking at about 22 grams for the combination, which is still lighter than a lot of stoves out there. But considering this is only 9.3, I might look for a little bit lighter option to carry this in, and something that maybe I could use to snuff it out. You can blow this one out. Actually, this is one of the few soda can type stoves that I have been able to blow out without any real issue, so that's kind of cool. But I would like something a little bit better, something like a cap that could clip on it that would, seal in the fuel, something that I could carry it with, something a little bit nicer that could really cut down on the weight. But let's go ahead and get this thing started with the next test. So I've got the 1 ounce of fuel, pouring it in. You can see it fills almost all the way up. Well, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it fills almost all the way up, and then it soaks it into the wicking material that's in there, gets it in there. I have everything set up, so I'm going to light it. Get this on here. Again, we're going to wait for it to come to a bloom before putting it on, just like we have with any of the jetted type stoves. It takes a minute, but it's not horrible. You can actually hear it when it starts to happen. You can hear the sizzle. Right now I'm starting to hear the sizzle. Take a look. I can see the flames are starting to come out there. Get that on. Hit start, and we'll come back and see what this one does. Okay, we just passed 200 degrees at about 4 minutes and 15 seconds. There's 209 at 434. Good, strong boil. Let's see what burnout is on the 550. All right, we're coming up to 8 minutes, and the flames are dying down pretty quickly. Still some flames there, but definitely not much. Continue to watch it real close. And I'm going to call that flame out right there at 8 minutes 20 seconds. 8 minutes 20 seconds burnout. So I think we're ready to go once again. I've got the water here sitting right at 60 degrees. I've got this fueled up, ready to go. So let's get this one started. I'm not holding out too much hope for a great performance with this one. As you saw, the 700 performed a little bit better than the 550, so I suspect that this one's going to perform a little bit worse and not quite do as well. So again, waiting for it to come to a bloom before we put the pot on, and then we'll get this thing going and everything will be good. Sounds like it's about there. Starting to hear the sizzle, starting to see the flames. There we go. Setting the pot on, hitting start. We'll see what it does. All right, at 5 minutes, we're just passing 200 degrees. This is among the fastest stoves with the Foster's pot. Around 5:15 has been the fastest with this one. Looks like we're getting a boil there, but we're looking for that 209. So we're gonna call it 209 at 529. So 529 for a boil. All right, the flames are definitely dying down. You can see that the boil is slowing down very, very quickly. With the lid on, it may last a little bit longer, but that flame is almost gone. All right, it's going. It's going. Whew, it's just barely hanging on. And I'm gonna call that flame out right there, 827. 827 flame out. All right, so we just got done testing this Stormin Stove System cone stove. So this one is designed for the cone, but you can see even without the cone there, it really performed well. Compared to something like this or the Kojin, the pressurized portion of it actually just makes it perform quite a bit better. I mean, We're talking about some of the fastest times we've seen with all of the different pots. And one of the lighter weights, 9.3 grams for this little stove. So, I mean, that's something to consider. And really the cost of it, if you go on their website, is pretty low. Now you are going to have to pay for international shipping because it's coming out of the UK. So Stormin Stove Systems is out of the UK. Let's see where this cone stove stacks on the leaderboard. The leaderboard is really starting to fill up with some great options for everybody out there. But let's take a look at where this newest stove that I've tested, the Stormin Cone Stove, stacks up. For fastest boil time, it comes in the fastest. Weighing only 9.3 grams, it brought the 700 Tokes pot to a boil with 12 ounces in 4 minutes and 12 seconds. Now, on the flip side of that, it had the shortest burn time with 8 minutes and 34 seconds. However, because of that fast boil time, that long or short, if you want to call it short, burn time put it at a 0.49 ounce fuel use for the boil. So that's something to consider. There is your leaderboard. Shaping up pretty well, probably room for 3 to 4 more on here, and then we will have to be kicking some off as different ones are tested. Gonna get exciting. All right, guys, so that was the test for today. The Stormin Cone system from Stormin Stoves, lightweight, performed really well. I was thoroughly impressed with it. Like I said, I started testing with the cone, and this one just performed so much better than the others that I really wanted to get a test with it. Once you figure out the fuel usage with it, where to fill it to, you could probably use this without having to worry about blowing it out and sealing it afterwards. And so you may not have to take something like the case that it comes in. Now the case is great for keeping it in one piece, not getting it banged up, but if you're already carrying something like a pot grabber that's gonna be able to wrap around this and fit down inside of your pot, maybe that's the way to go. I don't know. We'll keep playing around with it and try and figure it out. Come back next week where we will be testing an old favorite. This is the Batch Stoves Graham Weenie Pro. This one happens to have the fiberglass wicking on it. That's the cold weather wicking so that it can get started when the fuel is cold. A lot of times when your fuel gets cold, it doesn't like to ignite. If you have something with a wick, it will ignite. So a lot of the pressurized ones don't work so well in the cold weather, and that's because they don't like to get started. If you've got a way to start it using a wick, that's a great way to do it. So come back, and this is what we'll be testing next week. All right, guys, thanks for joining me. If you like this series, make sure you go down below, hit that subscribe button. Right next to it, there's a little bell icon. Make sure you hit that so that you get notifications every time I upload a new video. I appreciate it, guys. I'll see you down the trail.